start, how, that overnight break.
Somewhere in the archives, there's a photo of a teenage girl on a practice court in Manila, repeatedly hitting forehands against a fence. No crowd around her, no cameras following her, and no ranking beside her name. Then, just 3 days ago, another image emerged of that same young woman holding a trophy high in Washington, D.C., surrounded by a packed stadium, with thousands of fans chanting her name.
Today it was a little bit hotter. I think I was playing much better yesterday, for whatever reason, than I was.
A world number 3 sitting across the net, still trying to process what had just happened. Between those two pictures is Alex Eala, now 21 years old and ranked world number 20. And this week, she became the first player from the Philippines in history to win a WTA Tour singles title. On August 13th, she steps onto the grounds of the Cincinnati Open with a completely different status. Not as a wild card. Not as a qualifier. She arrives as the champion of the tournament she just conquered, carrying a resume that no other player in the draw can match from the previous week. To understand why the WTA 1000 Cincinnati field is suddenly paying close attention to a player it barely needed to consider a month ago, you only need 3 facts. First, in Washington, Eala defeated the tournament's top 3 seeds, number 1, number 2, and number 3, all in the same week. Second, she accomplished it on hard court, the very surface where many believed she was still developing her game. And third, she enters Cincinnati through direct main draw entry, joining a field featuring 75 of the world's top 77 players, led by Aryna Sabalenka, Iga Swiatek, Coco Gauff, and Jessica Pegula. The same Jessica Pegula she had just defeated 4-6, 6-4, 6-0 to claim the biggest title of her career. And this is where the story becomes more complicated than a simple headline, because the question around the tour is no longer whether Alex Eala can compete. That question was answered Monday night in Washington. Now the real question is whether what happened in D.C. was a ceiling, one perfect week that pushed her beyond what she can consistently maintain, or a threshold, a level she has finally reached and has no intention of leaving. Every first-time WTA champion arrives at their next tournament carrying that same question. And tennis history has provided both outcomes. Some first-time champions never lift another trophy. Others discover a new level and never give it back. The Cincinnati Open, beginning in just 9 days, is where the WTA gets its first real opportunity to find out which version of Eala has arrived. And the reason the field is watching so closely, why calling them in shock is slightly exaggerated, but not completely inaccurate, is what Jessica Pegula said immediately after losing that final. She didn't blame the conditions. She didn't point to the weather delay. She didn't say fatigue was the reason. Instead, she said this in her post-match press conference, and these were her exact words.
Alex, on an amazing week, an amazing tournament.
I just want to congratulate Alex on an incredible week and an outstanding tournament.
I don't know how much more I can say, but you're an amazing player.
I don't know what else I can say, but you're an incredible player. That was the world number 3 speaking about Alex Eala, and more importantly, making it clear to the rest of the tour that this was no fluke. Pegula was in the perfect position to explain away the defeat, yet instead, she described it for exactly what it was. Now look at the facts. Just 2 weeks ago, Alex Eala was ranked number 28 in the world. She had never won a WTA main tour title. She had reached the semifinals in Miami and produced impressive wins over top opponents, but she still had not managed to finish a tournament as champion. She entered the Mubadala City DC Open more as a future prospect than an immediate threat, a player people were watching for what might come later, not necessarily this month. Washington also meant hard court, a surface traditionally suited to bigger servers and taller players. And her draw was led by Pegula at number 1, surrounded by experienced veterans throughout the bracket. Then, over 7 days, everything changed. She opened the tournament by coming back from a set down. Then came Clara Tauson, in a 3-set battle where Eala trailed 5-1 in the deciding set before winning 6 straight games. That was when the run truly began. Because when you look at those results individually, each victory is impressive. Each one deserves a highlight and a headline. But put them together, in the exact order they happened, and they tell a much bigger story. They show a player transforming in real time. In the quarterfinals, Eala defeated Alina Svitolina, the 10th seed and one of the tour's most experienced ball strikers, 6-3, 6-4. Afterward, when she was asked why she seemed to find another gear late in matches, Eala said, "I guess that just comes also with the level of my tennis getting higher because you always want to win and you always want to fight." Notice what she didn't say. There was no shock. No disbelief. She spoke as if this was a level she already knew existed inside her. Then came the semifinal. And this was the match that changed the entire conversation. Naomi Osaka, the third seed and four-time Grand Slam champion, was once again showing the form that made her one of the defining players of the past decade. Eala had never beaten her. Anyone watching the matchup before that week would have struggled to call Eala the favorite. She won 6-4, 6-2. It wasn't close. It wasn't fortunate. It was her first career victory over Osaka, and the scoreline didn't look like an upset. It looked like a statement. And that brings us to the moment that could eventually become the clip everyone rewatches from the beginning of her career. The final against Pegula. Take a moment here, because everything that followed rests on one simple fact. Eala was a set down. The match was interrupted by weather. And when the players returned to the court, Eala won the deciding set 6-0. 6 games without giving up one. Against the world number 3. In a Sunday final that had been suspended long enough for both players to reset, regroup, and return with the opportunity to play the tennis that had carried them to that stage. Pegula came back and played her game. Eala came back and played at a level even higher than the one that had taken her to the final. That isn't simply a hot streak. It isn't just adrenaline. Adrenaline doesn't normally produce 6 straight games against a top 3 player. That was a player discovering, under the exact conditions designed to expose her weaknesses, a version of her tennis that had never appeared at that level before. The WTA's official coverage in the hours following the match captured the scale of the achievement in one simple fact. Alex Eala had defeated the number 1, number 2, and number 3 seeds at the WTA Open. No other player on the tour had accomplished that at a single event this season. And that is why the conversation around her arrival in Cincinnati has changed so quickly. The Cincinnati Open is a WTA 1000, one of the biggest tournaments on the women's calendar and the final major preparation event before the US Open. Its field is built around the very best players in the sport. 75 of the world's top 77 are in the draw. Aryna Sabalenka is defending her title. Iga Swiatek is looking for another deep run. Coco Gauff headlines the American contingent. There are no easy hiding places in this tournament. No soft section of the draw. And Alex Eala, who was watching events like Cincinnati from a completely different position in the rankings just a year ago, now arrives as the newest champion on tour, carrying a week of results that no other player in the field can match over the same period. And once again, the most authoritative voice on this sudden shift belongs to Jessica Pegula. Because she is the only top 3 player who has actually faced Eala across an entire match while she is playing at this new level. That is why Pegula's post-final comments matter. Not simply because they were respectful, but because of what they revealed about the player she had just faced.